Hi, my name is Amanda Vanderveen, and I was going to share with you today how to hug a pillar candle. Now, it's not just to be really friendly and to make sure that your candle isn't feeling lonely. Hugging a candle is actually helping you get the most efficient use out of your candle. What you're trying to do is make sure you're using up as much of the wax as you possibly can and not leaving very much to waste. Now, there's nothing really wrong with letting a well develop in your candle where you've got the shell on the outside and your wick is slowly burrowing deeper into your candle. It can give you a really cool look, and like I've got these LED candles that give that kind of illusion. Nothing wrong with that, except that you'll notice if you did have a candle burn like this, you've got this whole shell of wax that isn't being burned. So you're wasting all this. Your candle's going to burn down a heck of a lot faster, and you're going to have all this wax left over, which is cool if you're going to melt it down and make your own candles and stuff, but not everybody's into that. And also sometimes you've got your favorite candle and you want it to last a bit longer. And so hugging it is how you do that. You showed a little love and it loves you back. So here I have a 3-inch pillar, and I've had it burning for at least 3 hours. Now, the general rule of thumb is to let your pillar candle burn for at least an hour for every inch across. So since this is a 3-inch across candle, I'm letting it burn for at least 3 hours. Now, the key thing that you're trying to do is get the wax to liquefy pretty much all the way across the top of the candle. All you want to have is a little bit of a shell on the outside that's holding that liquid wax in. And once you have it to this state, you're going to be able to properly hug it. So you'll notice, I don't know if you can see, but I've got a bit of a well developing here. So I've got these walls on the outside of the candle. And the whole purpose of hugging it is to just kind of take it with your thumbs and slowly push that wax on the outside, kind of curl it in and down. Now what you're doing here is you're bringing that wax that is on the outside closer to the wick so that it can melt. You're also taking up some of that space that's occupied in the center and filling it. So the wax that is right on the inside right now that's melted is slowly going to rise up as you're pushing more material, more wax into the center. So what you're going to do is bring the level up, and typically when you've had your candle burning for a while, the wick's been getting a bit longer. The longer your wick gets, the less efficient it's going to burn. Ideally, you want your wick to be about a quarter of an inch long when it's burning. You'll notice if it gets too long, it'll start leaping and flickering, and that's when you're going to get a lot of black sooty deposit. So this is going to help with that as well. So you're just going to keep on working at it. You don't want to go too fast because you don't want to accidentally spill something. So just slowly work at it. Some people I know will grab a spoon and use the back side of a spoon around the edges to get a nice level edge, but I actually find I like just using just my thumbs and just running them across there. So just keep on working at it as long as you need to. And what you're eventually going to get is the wax on the inside will ideally end up about level with your wall of unmelted wax on the outside. So then what's going to happen is when you put out your candle, it's going to liquefy nice and high, and you're going to have what looks almost like a brand new candle to start out with next time. And just like some batteries, candles do have a bit of a memory. If you keep on blowing it out and letting that well develop, it's just going to keep on building a deeper and deeper well. And what's going to eventually happen is if you do that too much and you've got too much of a well, if you try hugging it, when you try to push this wax in, it's actually going to end up drowning out your wick because there will just be too much wax there. Now what you can do at that point is before you drown out that wick, you could actually try taking a knife and carving away some of that wax on the outside. Again, you're going to be wasting it a little bit, but not the end of the world. Or I've been told you can take a hot skillet on your stove, take your candle and hold it upside down above the stove and slowly lower it towards the skillet. And as it's approaching the heat, it's going to melt the wax that's closest to it, so the ridges that are up on the side. And it'll start to drip into your pan, and just keep on slowly lowering it until you've got that top almost entirely level. pull your candle back up and just let it cool off again. It should be totally fine. Take your skillet off the stove, wait for that wax to liquefy inside, then you can just flake it out and take probably a paper towel and just wipe it out of your pan. So there we go. So I've got my wick, or my liquid here, the liquid wax in the center, pretty much level with my outside. And before I put this out too, I want to make sure that the wick is as centered as possible, because then you're going to get, again, a nice even burn. You're going to have a nice even ring on the outside next time you burn this. And one neat little tip that I learned today actually was, first off, you don't want to blow your candles out. There's a couple reasons. You get a lot of smoke, you can accidentally blow a bunch of wax all over the place, and also you're going to possibly shift that wick off center, which you don't want to do. You can use a snuffer to put it out. I find that it works really, really well, except that I get a lot of smoke. And if I'm putting out a lot of candles, it really quickly smokes up the room. So one thing that I learned today, you can take a little stick, or you can even take like a really large paper clips, unbend it, and you just want something that you can poke into your candle here. And what you're going to do is actually take the wick, push it down into the wax, and then pull it back up and center it. And you'll find that you won't get very much smoke at all. And it also protects the wick, and you've got it all set to light for next time. And it's actually a really neat little trick. So just the tiniest little whiff of smoke there, and that was it, instead of all the smoke billowing all over the place. And I'll just make sure that that's nicely centered for next time, so I've got my candle ready to go. So there I go. I've got a hugged candle. I don't have to trim my wick next time I go to light my candle, because I've actually gone and raised up the wax enough that that's not a big deal. I can just go ahead and light this next time, and I'm going to have a beautiful candle.